If you often find yourself plagued by negative or inappropriate thoughts, you should definitely listen to this Buddhist story. There was once a young man living in a small village who was deeply troubled. His mind was constantly filled with thoughts he didn't want to think about. He would waste most of his day indulging in trivial pleasures, only to regret it later. Yet, despite his efforts, he would end up repeating the same habits the next day. He was the only son of his aging parents, who were growing older while he was still young. But he couldn't do anything that would make them proud. He knew he was misusing his time in life, but he couldn't change himself, no matter how hard he tried. He would share his problems with elders in his village, and they would give him all sorts of advice, but nothing seemed to work. Eventually, he began to feel that his life would continue like this, burdened by mental struggles and bad habits. Because of this, he was always sad and worried. One day, lost in his thoughts, he was sitting by the village pond when a friend came running up to him, enthusiastically placed a hand on his shoulder and said, "Friend, I have found a solution to all your problems." Hearing this from his friend's mouth, the young man became excited and asked, "What is the solution to my problems?" His friend replied, "Meditation. Meditation is the solution to all your problems." The young man asked, "What is meditation?" His friend said, "Yesterday, some Buddhist monks came to our village for alms. People were asking them about their problems, so I thought I would ask about yours too. When I asked how to control the mind, the monks didn't say much, just that meditation is the solution to all life's problems. I thought you might know about meditation, so I didn't ask more." After hearing his friend's words, the young man said, "I need to meet those monks." The young man and his friend set out to find the monks. After much searching, they found them meditating under a tree in a nearby village. They sat down near the monk and waited for him to open his eyes. After a while, when the monk opened his eyes, they greeted him and said, "You said meditation is the solution to all life's problems, but you didn't explain what meditation is." The monk replied, "What meditation is cannot be fully explained in words, but since you have asked, I must say something. So listen, meditation means no questions, no answers, no thoughts, and no emotions. It is a state that reveals our true reality. When one reaches this state, all questions disappear because everything becomes clear. The busyness of life becomes apparent to them." The young man asked, "But how can one achieve such a state of meditation?" The monk replied, "Meditation is very simple. Can you sit down?" The young man said, "Yes, I can sit." The monk asked, "How long can you sit?" The young man replied, "I've never tried it, but I can sit for as long as I want." The monk said, "Sit for an hour every day with your eyes closed." The young man asked, "When and where should I sit?" The monk replied, "Anytime and anywhere, as long as the place is quiet and secluded." The young man then asked, "How many days will it take for my negative thoughts and bad habits to go away?" The monk said, "Only one day if you can sit with your eyes closed for 24 hours. The young man returned home and sat down to meditate. As soon as he closed his eyes, various thoughts started to arise in his mind. Will meditating actually help me? Will I be able to break my bad habits? When will everyone start respecting me? I love her, but why doesn't she love me back? What can I do to become the richest person in my village? Many other thoughts like these kept coming to his mind. Then he remembered that the monk had said that there are no thoughts or emotions in the state of meditation. Now, he tried to stop his thoughts, but can anyone ever stop the flowing water of a river? He couldn't stop his thoughts and opened his eyes, thinking that he had done many things in his life, but nothing as difficult as this. And those monks had said that meditation is very easy. The next day, the young man returned to the monk and said, "You said meditation is very simple, but it seems to be the most difficult thing in the world. No matter how hard I try, my thoughts don't stop." The monk replied, "Who told you to stop your thoughts?" The young man asked, "Then how will I reach a state where there are no thoughts? You said that in meditation there are no thoughts or questions." The monk explained, "Many thoughts arise and die in our minds all the time, but the mind clings to one of them, and then we keep thinking about related thoughts, getting entangled in them. When you sit to meditate, many thoughts will arise and pass away. But you should not choose any thought, just watch them. Your thoughts will come and go. Gradually, with time, the speed of these thoughts will slow down. Hearing all this from the monk, the young man went back home and sat down to meditate again. This time, he watched his thoughts as they arose in his mind. For a while, he could observe his thoughts without getting involved, but then thoughts arose that he couldn't resist thinking about, and he got lost in deep thought. For a while, he remembered that he was meditating and tried to observe his thoughts again. But this time, his mind played another trick. Inappropriate thoughts started to arise. He thought, why are such thoughts coming up in the sacred state of meditation? He tried to suppress these inappropriate and dirty thoughts, but he couldn't. Such thoughts kept arising continuously in his mind. After struggling for a long time, he got frustrated, got up from his meditation, and went straight to the monk. He said, "Whenever I sit down to meditate with my eyes closed, only inappropriate and dirty thoughts come to my mind." The monk said, "No thought is good or bad, so don't try to forcibly suppress any thought, because our resistance to thoughts only makes them more powerful. Therefore, don't try to suppress any thought. The nature of the mind is such that if you try to stop it from thinking about something, it thinks about that thing even more. That's why trying to stop your thoughts is futile. The thoughts you're calling dirty or inappropriate are also a part of your life. These thoughts are necessary for human life to progress. Remember, whatever you reject in life, your mind will be most attracted to it. Don't try to ignore any truth of life. Only by accepting it will you be free from it. But that doesn't mean you should be lost in thoughts of lust all the time. You need to understand that lust is just a small part of life, not the whole of it. Accept this aspect of life and move forward because there is much more to explore in this life." The young man said, "But our mind plays so many tricks on us that it seems like it is our enemy." The monk said, "No, the mind is not our enemy. It simply wants to experience things that give it comfort and joy. So, when we do something that doesn't bring immediate joy to the mind, it resists." The monk continued, "If you want to get rid of bad thoughts from your mind, change your habits. You can only change your habits when your mind is under your control, and your mind will only be under your control when you know yourself, when you experience it yourself, when you experience meditation." With that, the monk stood up, gently placed his hand on the young man's head with a soft smile, picked up his alms bowl, and walked away.